I want to watch this video by Asmon talking about the future of Season of Discovery. So I'm going to full screen this.
TV hypers.
Ooh, Sepelio! Thank you very much. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you all for being here. Let's do this. What is next for Season of Discovery? Brought to you by Asmon, and I think he's also reacting to another YouTuber. That YouTuber is named EbonhardtTV. Here we go.
The current Classic team owns? Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, guys. Like, I think everything that the Classic WoW team is doing is good. Straight up. The Ashen Veil thing isn't really that great for a lot of people, but overall, I think that they are making all of the right decisions.
They've been trying to fix it.
Token, which was a horrible fucking decision.
To be fair to the Classic team, I don't think that they had... I don't think the Classic team had any decision over whether or not to add the WoW token. I think they were told. Listen, you guys are going to put the WoW token in. You don't have an option. You are putting that fucking thing in there.
I think that every decision they made for Wrath of the Lich King has been good too. I think that they've actually, like, they kind of have an idea of what the fuck they're doing. Maybe they play the actual game.
Season of Discovery ends Phase 4 with Karazhan Crypts, but what about what comes before that? And then
Season Discovery ends Phase 4 with Karazhan Crypts. Who the fuck
I need to move my
that?
webcam.
I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. Now, there's a chance it could be true, and I think that, like, I mean, honestly, it probably will be true, but I don't know if it's going to end then.
The fun question of what comes after. Well, we all know that Season of Discovery has 4 phases, and that Phase 1 is Black Fathom Deeps at level 25, as well as the Ashen Veil PvP zone for its PvP event. It's our introduction to level up raids and new PvP event zones, letting Blizzard test the waters, dipping their toes in to see just what the Classic player base enjoys and just what it hates. And I think they've hit the nail on the head on how to properly release content and make changes to Season of Discovery because of the phase system.
They will never do this again. This has been such a failure. What, SoD? I think Season of Discovery has been a success so far. How long will it be a success? Is it going to be a long-lasting success? I don't know. But I think that so far, people seem to be really enjoying themselves.
4 to 12 weeks between each phase is a sweet spot for letting people enjoy content without getting bored. This system lets everyone share how they feel about a new experience, because every person you ask will have a wildly different answer to what is Classic Plus. So this is far more useful to Blizzard than...
Well, it's also, like, it can be kind of hard, because, like, right now, for example, Warlocks are, like, insanely fucking good, right? They're, like, disgustingly
at certain
good.
Things,
but maybe at 40 they won't be as good because other classes will have tools to stop them.
Yeah, maybe.
1,000 voices yelling different things.
The drain is
so
nuts.
Black Fathom Deeps and the Ashen Veil PvP event zone are testing grounds for player reactions. When you keep that information in mind, it makes the remaining phases and schedule make a lot more sense.
And everything. Listen, to be clear, there are classes that beat Metamorphosis Warlocks. Affliction Warlocks beat Meta Warlocks. A good Hunter and a good Mage can both beat a Meta Warlock. The Drain is good and probably needs to be a little bit nerfed. But Metamorphosis Warlock tanking, your AoE threat is dog shit. Seriously, your single target threat is like fine, it's good enough. But your AoE threat, it's not that great. Okay? So to act like Meta Warlocks are just the greatest thing in the world, they're not. There's other things that are better.
Phase 2 is Numeragon at level 40, and it's a dungeon that's massive, full of flavor, and still abandoned in retail, leaving the gnomes as homeless refugees for almost 2 decades. Just like Black Fathom Deeps, it's a large dungeon that can essentially be broken into different wings and be filled with bosses, events, and quests that just feel natural. And just how Phase 1 had a massive PvP event zone, Phase 2 will have one
SoD
as well.
Shaman is really good, really good.
The player base doesn't lose their collective minds and tear Ashen Veil down so hard that Blizzard cancels their plans. Warlords.
I think that people don't really like Ashen Veil. From, like, everybody that I've talked to, I
no
haven't
one
really heard anything positive about Ashen Veil.
No one is looking to have fun with the Ashen Veil event. People are looking to min-max the Ashen Veil event for the best, most optimal rep per hour, but no one's really looking to have fun doing it. That's the truth. Like, it's not something that people really enjoy. It's not.
So yeah, like, I don't think they're probably going to do another one of those. I don't think they should. Like, if it's, like, maybe they should try it again if they feel, like, really confident about it. But, like, I don't think it's really a good place to invest your time into.
Of Jenna.
I think that's true.
And whilst BFD is in Ashen Veil,
they only have a very limited amount of time. I would rather them spend that time making the next raid better, making the Numeragon raid better than it otherwise would be, or whatever, right? Making
so
cool
Warsong
runes.
Gulch. So you'd
Right.
think that Phase 2's PvP zone event should be in the
Arathi
Arathi
Basin.
Highlands,
Yeah.
or tied
Probably
into
Arathi Highlands.
Arathi Basin. But you'd be wrong, because
Okay.
Phase 2's PvP event zone is in Stranglethorn Vale. Honestly, it would be
Why?
funny if they kept PvP zone events in the zone of the dungeon, but how could they turn an alliance leveling zone into a PvP event zone? Are all dwarves and gnomes just being exiled?
Arathi Highlands is not just an alliance leveling zone; it's a horde leveling zone too. And also, Arathi Highlands would make, if they really want to do the open world PvP zone thing again, Arathi Highlands I think is the best place to do it. I think it's a better place to do it than Stranglethorn Vale.
Out the Elven Forest? No, that won't happen. But Stranglethorn Vale itself makes perfect sense. A highly contested PvP zone, and one that should have had a battleground from the get-go. We can.
I think the problem that like world PvP has is that there's a lack of like, I don't think Blizzard knows how to create objectives for world PvP that don't just turn the game into a min-maxed grind. Because like usually what happens, for example, like in Classic WoW, is that people would just farm AV. They would just do AV over and over and over.
And by the way, Alterac Valley is an instanced PvP scenario that has always suffered from this problem. People have always been looking for a way to bypass Alterac Valley's mechanics and just get in and get out as quickly as possible, right? That's how people for 20 years have been interacting with Alterac Valley, and it's no surprise that that's how people are interacting with the Ashenvale event also. Okay, we're going to skip every single objective, we're going to nuke the boss, and we're going to get in and out as quickly as we possibly can and queue another one.
Over again, nobody would do PvP, because the truth is that people usually participate in this content for the rewards. That's what they usually do. And
Not the
after
fun.
people stop getting the rewards from the content, most of the participation drops off.
That is true.
And I think that's really what the problem is that if you want to have people play PvP and enjoy it, you should make PvP an intrinsic design, an intrinsic goal to just simply be fun to play, rather than trying to get people to do it by motivating them through like gear or some sort of item. How? I don't know how. I think that like what I would like them to do for STV, like this is just my guess, is just give you a weekly quest to kill 50 people in the zone. Kill 50 people that are of at least, like green level to you, and within like your level, and you just kill those people.
Leveling in STV would be cancer. Do you guys remember Phase 2 World PvP? This is early 2020. You remember what it's like to run around the world? You're just getting killed every single place you go. That's what would happen in STV. You thought STV was bad already? It's going to be 50 times worse.
And that's it. Like, that's probably the best way that I can think of. And I don't even know. No, please? Well, why not? Why do the quest? Well, I don't know. Like, have it
Remember
give, like,
Phase
honor
2?
or something like that. Minus honor for gray players? No, I don't really think so. Weekly scrub farm? Yeah, and like, again, I really just don't know how to incentivize it. Won't people just trade wins? Yeah, I mean, I think they probably could, or you'd have like 5-man groups going around and killing people. Like, so yeah, that could be a problem too. It happens in retail WoW.
You would.
So it's like, I don't really know.
I gotta say, I really disagree with Asmon here. It's crazy to hear this idea after just 3.5 or 4 years ago, we all played through Phase 2. This is just like artificially recreating Phase 2 World PvP, which everyone hated. It was just incentivized corpse camping, right? I'm gonna kill you 3 times, and then honor diminishes, and I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna go corpse camp someone else. I'm gonna corpse camp at flight paths. I'm gonna corpse camp at graveyards. I'm gonna kill people that are 12 levels lower than me, or whatever it is. I think 48 was the cutoff. If I'm a 60, I'm gonna kill every single person that's 48 plus. And what happens if you do this is that the game just pretty much becomes unplayable, right? And so what you would be doing is relegating that unplayability to one zone, which is better than the entire world. But yeah, STV would become completely unplayable. It would be a very bad time for people that are just trying to level and have fun and enjoy STV. And STV is meant to be enjoyed. It's one of the best leveling zones in the game, but it would become completely unplayable.
How to incentivize MMO PvP other than just like letting it be what it is. Because I think the moment that you incentivize it and you try to drive gameplay, it contrives the entire system.
Likely expect a new reputation, a new quartermaster for some PvP loot down there, but we'll find out more in the coming weeks. Now, Phase 3 is where it gets spicy, but also still makes perfect sense since we have Scarlet Monastery, which comes with the level cap of 50, but it's also just north of a very conflicted and iconic battleground. That's right, Alterac Mountains and thus Alterac Valley.
AV,
with Scarlet Monastery being one of the most
AV.
iconic dungeons because of Sally White, because of badass Crusaders, and Alterac Valley being one of the most recognizable battlegrounds in World of Warcraft.
See, I actually think that AV is my favorite battleground. Like, I think AV, well, probably Isle of Conquest is, but it's like both like the 40-man battlegrounds.
Isle of Conquest.
Like, I personally don't like playing battlegrounds in like a 10v10 or like a very small competitive like function.
The best battleground ever in the history of this game is Arathi Basin. God, Arathi Basin is so good. It goes Arathi Basin, Alterac Valley, then Warsong Gulch is the worst. Warsong Gulch is the absolute worst. It's terrible. I've been in like the problem is it's too easy to grief Warsong Gulch. The games can take too long. If you've got one psychopath druid who wants to sit on the rooftop with the flag for 6 hours, it's over. Your day is fucking ruined. At least you know that Alterac Valley and Arathi Basin are going to end at some point. By the way, Warsong Gulch gets a little bit better when they add a timer to it, because then at least you know you're only going to be in there for 20 minutes at most or whatever. But bro, Vanilla WoW Warsong Gulch is just such an unfun experience.
I think Battleground should be a battleground, right? It should be like like a skirmish in Lord of the Rings or something like that. Seeing like a 10v10, it just doesn't excite me that much. Maybe I'm weird, but that's what I think.
Perfect combination to throw out for Phase 3.
If I wanted that, I'd play another game
the level
like
cap of
League
50 and Scarlet Monastery being turned into a massive level up raid with new bosses, remastered bosses, new events, quests, and perhaps even a brand new reputation. Phase 3 is looking to be incredibly exciting. The PvP is just icing on that beautiful, delicious cake. And then that brings us to Phase 4 and the first new dungeon in Classic, Karazhan Crypts, a dungeon that was designed back in 2000.
And by the way, so we in this video we mentioned 4 phases. It's going to be level 25 phase, level 40 phase, level 50 phase, level 60 phase. But when level 60 comes out, they said that all of the raid content is not going to be available from day one. So we will probably have Molten Core and Karazhan Crypts in phase 4. And then phase 5 is like Blackwing Lair. And then phase 6 is maybe, or it's like phase 5.5 is ZG, and then phase 6 is AQ20 and AQ40, and then phase 7 I guess is Nax. Also, so we're talking a lot of stuff. And then they might add at level 60, and maybe they're adding even more bonus stuff that we've never even heard of yet, that they haven't even announced or hinted at even. Could be cool. Could be cool. Could be very cool. What I think they should do for the OG Vanilla WoW raids, Molten Core, ZG, Blackwing Lair, AQ20, AQ40, and Extramus, Onyxia, they should use the Season of Mastery updated raids. A lot of people forget about this, but 2 years ago in Season of Mastery, the first seasonal content they released, that honestly kind of was not that popular with the community, they made all the raids harder and added new, honestly pretty cool mechanics to all those raids. And I think those more difficult raids from Season of Mastery would go over with the community very well in Season of Discovery once we're all level 60, because now we have runes, now there's new class balancing, now it's going to be a totally new meta. And I think the raids kind of need to be harder, because we are all way more powerful. So I think they're going to be a perfect fit. They should import those more difficult raids from SOM into SOD.
2002 or 2003 and then abandoned because they ran out of time, before becoming the raid known as Karazhan and the Burning Crusade. We know nothing about Karazhan Crypts, and people will be making pure conjecture until it comes out, but I expect us to perhaps see original quest lines and ideas make it back into the game. It could be this.
I hope that they do like original quest lines and new content like that. I do worry that it could be done in a bad way, but I just want Blizzard to try. Just try and do it. See what happens. 10v10 allows for more tactics and more meaning. Allows for war fantasy and grand.
They need to make it so Nat Peggle gives you a quest to go fish up a fragment of Ashmorn inside of the pool of suffering in the Karazhan Crypts, right? Because that was the meme all the way from 2004. Ashmorn. What's the sword called? The Paladin sword. Why am I blanking on that? Ashmorn, Ashbringer. I want to be able to fish up Ashbringer Okay, that's one of the oldest World of Warcraft memes. Was that Nat Pagle was supposed to help you fish up Ashbringer? Okay, Asmon.
Grander strategy both have value. Yeah, for sure. I just personally don't really care a lot about the tactics or anything like that. It's it's not really a competitive game. I don't view WoW as a competitive game. I think that's basically like what it comes down to. Like, I know some people play WoW competitively, but I just don't view it as a competitive game.
For me, the only way WoW is competitive is parsing against myself. I like using Warcraft logs to compare my performance this week to my performance last week. I don't give one shit about how other people are playing or performing. As long as we clear the content, I really don't care. I don't care if I'm the best warlock in the world. I just like to compare myself to my prior self. That's how I use it.
Of an alternate timeline with ideas from vanilla making a frontline return. We will likely get a new reputation to grind, new quests, new items, and perhaps even instead of being a 10-man level up raid, we're looking at the first new 20-man or 40-man raid in Classic.
I want to see a 40-man. Yeah, like, I think
Level 40 No Morgan raid should be a 20-man raid. We should have a 20-man No Morgan raid. This whole 10-man thing, I'm not a fan of the 10-man BFD experience. It's fine, whatever. It's only going to be here for two or 3 months, but I miss grouping up with the boys, man. And I've got more boys than I've got more than 9 boys. I want to be in a raid with the boys, okay? 20-man raid, 40-man raid. Let me group up with the boys and go out and fucking dominate some raid bosses, dude. That's what Vanilla WoW is all about.
I think it's so badass whenever you get 40 people together and you're raiding with everybody. I think it's awesome. I know some people are like, oh, 40-mans are too big. Nah, dude. 40-mans are fucking awesome. You get all the boys together. Everybody's riding there on their mounts. Everybody gets their world buffs. Oh, it's fucking awesome. I love it. Should absolutely be 40-mans.
But PvE without PvP just isn't World of Warcraft, and thus the new PvP zone event for Phase 4 is also likely to be new content. Since Karazhan Crypts an abandoned and forgotten concept and ideas being brought back to life, so will, in my opinion, Azshara Crater, a completely new battleground dreamed back to life for Classic, as well as turning Azshara into a massive level 60 zone-wide PvP event zone. New reputations, quest lines, and much more are going to be given to us, and our dream is the limit.
Check this out. Level 25 is Warsong Gulch. Level 40 is obviously going to be Arathi Basin. Normally in Vanilla WoW, you need to be 51 to queue Alterac Valley. I think they should have the level 50 meta be Alterac Valley. So you're queuing level 50 Alterac Valley, and then by the time you hit 60, they should have a new battleground. So they have one battleground per phase. Level 60, we get Battle of Azshara or something else. They should have a new BG for level 60.
Or in this case, the amount of risk
with a new rep also
to take. And thus I conclude what I call the Season of Discovery introduction phases, which are amazing and incredible. Whilst we don't know exactly what we'll be getting, it's only the beginning of Season of Discovery because Blizzard has already said we're getting more content at level 60. And thus,
I think that's why I'm going to be really curious to see how they implement that content, man. I really do.
Introduce you all to the Season of Discovery endgame phases, which is phase 5 to 8. Now, you might think that 8 phases is a lot, but Classic, when it came out in 2019, had 6 phases, and that was re-releasing the original 6 raids. Now, this is what we call the educated guessing phase, where we have ideas and we know what they're going to do nominally, but despite knowing we're getting content, new and old, changes and more, we don't know what that is. So this is more of a wish list for content. So phase 5 is of course none other than Molten Core and the top 5 most iconic raids in World of Warcraft after Black Temple, Ulduar, ICC, and Siege of Orgrimmar. Don't crucify me for—
I think that we'll probably see the raids come out like pretty consecutively, like maybe a new raid every month or something like that. I don't really know. But
it should definitely not be 4 or 5 months or 6 months like it was back in the day.
I really am looking forward to seeing is the actual, like, I think they should do the opening of the Gates of AQ again, for example. I think that would be fucking awesome. And like it would just give people something.
Has anyone checked if the AQ gates are open right now on SoD? Do we know? They're probably closed, right?
Cool to do.
top 5 in the comments.
They're open?
Whilst Molten Core might not be the most iconic raid, Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker is the single most iconic in-game weapon from World of Warcraft, if you don't count Frostmourne or the Warglaives. We're looking at a remastered Molten Core, new bosses, mobs, quests, items, and perhaps even legendaries and reputations. A legendary that's already in the game but only one singular person got is the necklace back from Vanilla, which got removed because it wasn't meant to be in the game. Now
I think that would be really cool. Like, if, for example, like, the Talisman of Binding Shard, I remember this was like a, like old school, like WoW legend item. And it would be really cool if, like, the first guild to clear Ragnaros got this item, like, on each server. So, like, you only had one item like this on each server. And it's like, it's really...
Dude, this necklace is sick, man. That, like, there's so much resistance on this. 4 nature damage, dude.
Not that great of an item.
Dude.
Whenever you look at it, is this like a game-breaking item? No, it's not. I don't know. I just think having little cool things like that would be cool.
Should do that. They should do that.
In the game. Now that necklace might not come back, but they already have legendaries they designed back then, which they could reincorporate into Season of Discovery. I'm not sure exactly how much they'll change Molten Core and with it Onyxia, but there will be changes. As for PvP, Blackrock Mountain is the single most cancerous PvP zone in the game. If you played on a PvP server, then you'll be having Vietnam flashbacks. So we know.
If you want to make Vanilla WoW way better, you should have every single raid instance portal in Blackrock Mountain. Move the instance to AQ40 in Blackrock Mountain. You want to do ZG? Guess what? You need to go to Blackrock Mountain. You want to do Naxxramas? Guess what? You need to zone into Naxxramas through Blackrock Mountain. The second the game shifts away from the Blackrock Mountain meta, the game kind of dies. Blackrock Mountain is so good.
Know that Molten Core and Onyxia are coming, but what about new content? Allow me to introduce the new and improved Dire Maul or Blackrock Depths.
BRD, I mean, if they make BRD into a raid, this is what I think that they should do for BRD, okay? I think what they should do is they should retune, you know how, like, whenever you go into BRD, there's, like, and I've said this before, there's, like, that, the door on the left that you have to open with the special key.
Yeah.
I think that... You know the big giant fucking golem that's guarding the giant door? I think they should completely retune him and make him a raid boss that's harder than Nefarian. And if you kill him, the door behind him opens.
Yep, that's awesome.
That's the new raid.
That's awesome.
Or it leads to like a whole new area in BRD.
They should do that.
That has like new 40-man bosses.
Yeah, they should do that.
Because like that's how you make a game bigger, and that's how you make something cool like that. That would be
that's what they should do.
Badass. Because, like, everybody always wondered back in the day, like, why is he guarding this door? Like, what's behind the door? Well, let's find out.
2 dungeons are massive. So massive.
In my mind, that door that boss was guarding, that's like the front door. In my mind, that door always opened up to the surface world. Like that's just like the front door to the zone. But I don't know. Maybe there's I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what's behind that door? I don't know.
In fact, that in Cataclysm they got cut down and reshaped into multiple separate wings, and in BRD's case they just scrapped well over half of it. Either of these 2 dungeons make most sense as being a new 20-man raid or 10-man raid, and logically it makes sense because Blizzard stated that they wanted new players to be able to catch up easily phase to phase. So introducing more level 60 level up raids makes gearing a lot easier and allows transitioning into raids more easily. Albeit,
I don't know if you really need more level up raids or not. I think that honestly Molten Core is really easy. The reason why people aren't able to raid in Classic WoW, like there's a couple of different reasons, right? Number one, they could be on a dead server. Like this is a big problem, and I think it's something that Blizzard, like if Blizzard allowed you to raid cross server, I would be happy. I think that would be great. I don't like the idea that you can only play with people from your server. I think it's very harmful, and just in general, like it might sound like a good idea, like, oh yeah, it makes server.
I have to say I hate servers. I think servers are a very archaic 2004 idea that have not aged well. I think that ideally everyone can play together always, and you can, if you want to meet your friend in Stormwind, you can meet him there. No holds barred. If you want to hang out, if you want to level with your friend in Ashenvale, you can level with your friend in Ashenvale. If you want to raid with your friend, you can raid. Because, you know, people will counter what I'm saying. They'll argue against what I'm saying with this idea of server identity. And I enjoy seeing the same people always. I remember their name. I leveled with them in Ashenvale, and I leveled with them in STV 2 weeks later. But servers are so layered anyway that doesn't really happen these days. Servers are just so layered. There's so many people on these servers. I think that's not really a common phenomenon anyway. So I don't know. Maybe the best way is just to have one hyper mega server with like 100 layers. So there are no more servers. There's just layers. And if you want to invite someone to do something with you, you can, and it's all good, and you're all on the same server, and it's just an infinite number of layers, I guess. I don't know if that's possible.
What happens whenever somebody else's server community is dead? Right? You have somebody who like literally can't play the game because there's not enough people on their server. I don't think that's a good thing. That's a very bad thing. It hurts the game a lot.
Also, there are a lot of people that are not... These are people that are not World of Warcraft pros. They're not watching YouTube videos. They're not reading Reddit. They're not watching Twitch. They're very uneducated World of Warcraft players. And maybe they're picking a server. Maybe they're playing for the first time. And just because they're not in the know, they don't know which servers are popular. They don't know which server is the big server to play on, the right server. They end up just kind of accidentally picking a bad server. And they don't realize that until 2 months later when they're finally level 60, or 3 months later. And then by the time they hit 60, it's like, yo, there's no one on my server. I can't do Blackrock depths, right? I get, and that's because when I made my character, I was a noob, and I accidentally picked the wrong one. That's a bad feeling. Sucks.
So I would like to see free transfers,
cases.
or shut down the realm, merge the realm, do something, right? Make sure that everybody has the ability to actually play with other people. Because, like, for example, like there's a lot of Burning Crusade realms or Wrath realms now that are just pretty much dead realms.
Totally dead.
So if you want to play the game and you're on this realm, you can get a free transfer to, like, maybe one other realm, but that's it.
I'm not sure if they'll focus all the effort into making the already existing raids better and more fun to interact with, and keeping the...
And I think also another factor is they need to have an in-game group finder. And I don't mean like the looking for dungeon tool, but I just mean like a bulletin board that you can put up that can be accessed by players. And like, I personally don't care, like, theoretically, if you had something like this, that you had to click on it in town in order to open it up. Like it was like a adventurer's notice board or something.
Yeah, sure. Something like that is fine. I think the feature in Classic Wrath, the looking for group finder, not the random dungeon finder, the looking for group finder is a great functionality that I think should be on every single server type. That should be on vanilla. That should be on Season of Discovery. That's a very, very good functionality. And in the absence of that functionality, what people will do is either endlessly spam trade chat, which is not fun and very annoying, or they'll use an add-on which parses trade chat for them, called looking for group bulletin board. This was the classic TBC meta, and so I think really we should just have the functionality. It allows you to list your group. It doesn't automatically pair you. You still have to talk to people. It doesn't teleport you anywhere. It just allows you to like make an advertisement for your group or for your raid. I think it's a good functionality. We should have that probably.
Something like that. And the only way that you could use it is by going to it and clicking it, right? Because that would get more people to go into town. Like, kind of like, maybe that would be a good idea. Good for RP, bad for like functionality. Hard to really say which one's better. Maybe start with that, and then if it's too annoying, get rid of it, and then just make it a menu. But anyway, like having an adventurer's board where you can click on it and it says, these are the raids forming for Molten Core. These are the raids forming for MC. These are the raids forming for World PvP. And like, you can find stuff to do by clicking on the adventurer's board, right? Maybe have it inside of Tavern, something like that. Like, think about like how many like fantasy animes like are built off of that, right? Like Goblin Slayer, for example. So I think that, again, it's
I don't watch fantasy animes. I don't know anything about that.
It's a trope that a lot of people appreciate and really like. And I think also it's easy to implement into the game, and it just makes the game better in general. I think a big problem is that nobody wants to sit in trade chat all the time, or sit looking for group chat all the time, spamming and like waiting for somebody else to start a Molten Core group. It's annoying and it's completely antiquated. Like, there's no reason that you should have to do that. So yeah, I think that's what they should do, is make a bulletin board system, because the reason why I don't think players need catch-up raids. I think players need tools to play with other players. That's the main problem. And also, like, another thing, so fucking forgot, Another thing is that some specs were just garbage in Classic WoW. Like, if you're a Ret Paladin, I would never bring a Ret Paladin unless it was like a friend of mine to a raid, because they're useless trash. They're garbage. Why?
Even if you are a friend of mine and you're a Red Paladin, I'm not going to bring you. Actually, I just refuse to be friends with Red Paladins. I don't talk to Red Paladins. We are immediately not friendly if you're a Red Paladin.
Why would anybody want to play with that?
Unacceptable.
Same with a Moonkin.
Yeah.
Why would anybody bring a Moonkin? They're useless trash. Why bring something that's bad? It's like you can either bring a warrior that does twice as much damage, or you can bring a paladin. Why would you ever do that?
12 weeks long, so we get a lot of hyper-focused content and then new phases before we get
more
bored.
than twice.
Or maybe phases 5 to 8 will be 6 months long each, with a storm of content to keep us all content. Nonetheless, Phase 6 is Blackwing Lair and Zul'Gurub. Two fun and interesting raids which will definitely get more quests, perhaps reputations, new mechanics, changes, and loot. The dungeons...
I really hope that Blizzard doesn't just make Season of Discovery harder. Like, I think if you want to tune up things for Molten Core and a couple of other raids, it's okay. But I really hope that Blizzard understands the reason why Classic WoW is so popular is because it's very easy.
I really think the Season of Mastery raid buffs are not too hard for SoD. Especially considering how much more powerful all of the classes and specs are now. I think we can handle it on SoD. I think we 100% should have the buffed SOM raids.
If you make the content hard, you alienate the people that the content is designed for. Like, Classic WoW was always a game of knowledge and skill, of knowledge and preparation, rather than skill and dexterity. It's too much. BFD difficulty is good? Yeah, BFD is fine. Kelris is not? Yeah, I think Kelris is too hard. Like, I think there's a lot of groups that are not going to be able to do him. Like, it's...
I think that, well, I mean, let me show you. Is Kelris too hard? I'll take a look at Warcraft logs here. We can see Black Fathom Deep's progress. So these groups that are 5 out of 7, these are the groups that are hard stuck on Kelris. These groups here this is a group that has killed Kelris, but they haven't killed the last boss, Akumai, and these are raids that have cleared everything in the instance. I don't really think that Kelris is too hard. I think Kelris is quite a fun fight. I think that it's I think it's a decent raid. I think it's a good raid. And by the way, mechanically, in the buffed SOM raids, nothing is really harder than anything we have in Black Fathom Deeps. Seriously, nothing in the buffed SOM raids are harder than Kelris. So that's why I say I think the buffed SOM raids are actually quite a good fit for SOD. I think they are.
It's not really that bad, but it's really hard if you compare it to the other Classic WoW bosses. Kelris ain't that bad. I love whenever I hear this from people that are sitting at 1 in the morning watching a Twitch channel talk about World of Warcraft, thinking that you have any sort of idea what the average player is. I'm not talking about
That's also maybe true.
How many people beat Kelris?
Listen, I will say, you know, if you are expecting to successfully pug raids 1 week after the game has been released, I think your expectations are too high. Is it fair? Maybe I'm being a dickhead gatekeeper when I say that, but I think it is totally fine if you cannot pug the new raid 1 week after it released. That's fine. Maybe you need to join a guild and make some friends. Maybe you must do that.
This second lockout on like your first 3 tries is a joke, right? It's a joke boss and a joke raid that's free loot. Yeah, first try. Yeah, we did too. But that doesn't really mean that this is the average experience, does it?
Most likely to get changed at this phase of Temple of Atal Hakar for ZG and Blackrock Spire for Blackwing Lair, correlating nicely with each other. Also, Blackrock Mountain being a horrible war zone probably continues into phase 6. Maybe Stranglethorn Vale.
Yeah, making Blackrock Mountain a war PvP zone would be really cool.
As well at this point. But then again, perhaps this is an overload of content and I'm overestimating Blizzard's zeal, desire, and goals when it comes to Classic Season of Discovery. There is a lot that they could do here, so much in fact that this could...
I think that their goals will change based off of how many people play the game. Like, if a lot of people are playing Classic WoW and they're having a lot of fun with it, I think that Blizzard will invest more money and time.
With SOM, the raid that they invested the most time and effort into was Molten Core. And then as SOM over the course of a year progressively died and fewer and fewer and fewer people were playing it, they were making fewer and fewer changes and spending less time developing new content for SOM. Not SOD. I'm talking Season of Mastery 2 years ago. So definitely, if SOD starts dying off progressively over the next couple months, if it's sort of a slow death, there will be fewer fewer changes and less content, less new content. Yeah.
I'm into classic WoW.
We've seen that before.
And if they're not getting that out of it, and they're not really making any money off of it, and like, you know, people are quitting, then I think they'll end it early. That's just what will logically make sense. Like, that's what I'd do if I was them, right? If I could.
SOM was released at a bad time. SOM was released at a very bad time. Yes, it was. SOM was a bad time. TBC was in a good spot. This is phase 4. No, this is tier 5 and tier 6 of TBC, which are phases that people generally liked. And also, Vanilla WoW had just ended like 6 months prior, okay? So people were still kind of burned out on Vanilla. We had just gotten over the Vanilla thing, and I think most people were not looking to go back and replay it again immediately. I think you need to kind of give people a chance to, you know, start reminiscing and build up some nostalgia, or at least, you know, build up some desire. It was too soon. It's too soon.
It's not hitting, then it's like, okay, we'll pack this up. Let's try it again.
Usually be a 6-month content stretch between the 10-mans, 20-mans, and 40-mans. Let's move on though to phase 7, which is where I think we're going to see the most new content in the game. Scarab Lord is a very coveted title, and the Black Kiraji battle time.
Yeah, they 100% need to bring back the opening of the Gates of AQ. Abso-fucking-lutely, they should do this. They should do different events for like, for even like Nax and like BWL. I would love to have like open world events for like these different like raid releases, where like, let's say for example, you had like lieutenants of Nefarian that like on the opening of the gate of
they're
the
just running around killing people,
like leading up to it, like they would just like fly around Searing Gorge or some or Burning Steps, right? And these are like level like unknown bosses, and you know you'd have to need like, I don't know, maybe like 40 people to kill one.
Rarest mounts in the entire game. The opening of An-Kiraj and the Scepter of the Shifting Sand questline is long, awesome, and genuinely a wild experience.
It's one of the best quest lines in the game.
Or he said.
You can only milk a cow so many ways. This is excessive. I love a good scam as much as the next queen, but geez. Would you say this if I really liked orange juice? Man, I had orange juice a week ago, and I'm craving orange juice again. Man, when I was 7 years old, I used to love drinking orange juice, and now I'm 29. I'm craving orange juice. I love orange juice. This is like a very weird, dismissive thing that I see in chat in regards to Vanilla sometime, and I think it's completely moronic and just brain dead. Really, I think it's a very, very bad take. Crimson tidal wave, like very, very stupid. People still like to play Ocarina of Time. People all the time go back and play Ocarina of Time. It's a great game. It's aged very well. People love it. People like to play Super Smash Bros. Melee. There are huge tournaments for Super Smash Bros. Melee. There are tons of old game. I love to go back and play Dark Souls 1 once a year or so. It's a great game. It aged very well. The fact that people like to go back and play Vanilla WoW every couple of years does not. That's not really abnormal. That's totally fine. There's nothing really strange or weird about that.
So imagine the things they could do here, the things they could add. Imagine a massive zone-wide PvP event in Silphus where the Horde and Alliance battle it out for new PvP reputations and items. AQ40 and AQ20 are incredible raids full of awesome bosses, lore, mechanics, and loot, and I can't wait to see what Blizzard does here. Now, we aren't theory crafting if we don't think about new content, and with that, allow me to introduce Uldaman, the new 10-man dungeon and another location to gear with levels.
Uldaman in a dungeon, I think that, like, again, I want to see extensions of the existing dungeons, and I want to see them make the dungeons bigger. Like, what if after Uldaman, I don't know, like, if you killed Arcadeus, like, whatever the guys, the last boss is, and, like, you kill him in under 1 minute, for example, the entire platform opens to, like, a giant spiral staircase, and you can go underneath Uldaman, and there's even more raid underneath it.
I like that idea. I like that approach much more than altering content that already exists. So the BFD raid that we got, it's okay. I think it's good for what it is. But I've explored BFD 10 million times in my life. I know every single inch of that raid. I know they changed. There's new bosses, new encounters. There's some new secret things in there. But it's like I would like new environments, new terrain, right? A new structurally a new dungeon. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people would prefer.
That would be fucking insane. And that's the kind of stuff that they need to do, right? They need to have something that like makes you wonder like what is that next really big crazy thing that's going to happen? Because I'm trying to think about like the best example that I can give of this is Algalon. Like who here remembers the first time that like you saw Algalon or you opened up the gate yourself and you walked out into that area? It was fucking badass. And yeah, actual discovery, yeah, just put it out and don't tell anybody. Yeah, Algalon was really cool. Are there any other examples? Like, for example, I love the fact that you can go to Molten Core from BRD.
Oh.
I actually think that's one of the coolest things in Classic WoW.
Yep.
That like you can do like the whole lava run and
even though no one really does that,
designed,
no one does that.
It is one of the coolest things Blizzard has ever done to this day.
The only time anyone ever goes to Molten Core through BRD is, okay, guys, you know the officer in our guild? He has a new girlfriend. Her name is Cyber Kitten XX, and she's level 56, and she didn't get her attunement done in time. So we're going to have to do a lava run. We're going to start the raid 20 minutes late because we have to do a lava run to get her into the instance because everyone else already has the Eye of Divinity, and if it drops, she's going to get it. So whatever, we're just going to... So everyone go AFK 20 minutes while we do this. That's the only time. That's the only time.
60 gear so you can delve into the raids faster.
Yep.
Last but not least, Phase 8 and the dreaded Naxxramas, the so-called guild killer in vanilla and definitely guild killer in classic as everything devolved into GDKPs and triggered hyperinflation. Naxxramas will likely get more loot, new quests, new bosses, new mechanics.
Well, the reason why Nax was a guild killer is because it was hard. Like, there's really not a lot to it besides that. It was just a...
Naxxramas in vanilla WoW is the hardest raid ever made. It is harder than Mythic Fyrak. It is harder than any single retail Mythic raid. It's harder than any Mythic Plus dungeon. It's more challenging. It's the hard. In fact, it's probably the hardest video game content ever conceived.
A hard raid.
Yeah,
like the
anything in
numbers
Dark Souls
were high.
harder.
It's not like Thaddeus is hard, but it's like if you do something wrong on Thaddeus, you're instantly dead. Which is, again, I think that's great design. I'm totally fine with that. I think that like a boss like Thaddeus is, I would rather do that type of a boss than the new bosses in retail WoW.
Thaddeus is a really great fight because if someone fucks up, they kill themselves and that's it. And then what happens if someone kills themselves, it allows the guild to come together and bully that person. If someone is dumb enough to fuck up that very basic mechanic, and only they die, no one else dies, it allows 39 people to come together and say, you're a moron. You're so stupid. And that's a really, like, people bond over that. That's a really, really important experience. That's very valuable.
Because
seriously.
the bosses in retail WoW, there's like 75 different mechanics. None of them kill you.
Shame is
but,
good.
Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, you know, if you get hit by 3 of them, you're dead. I find it to be very boring. Easy mechanics, but punishing? Yes.
And more. That's to be expected. But what else will change in Phase 8? Well, let me introduce you all to the new 20-man or 10-man raid Stratholme, one of the most iconic places in all of Warcraft in the beginning of the fall for our beloved Prince Arthas. Now, this is me wishing, but it could make sense, as once Eastern Plague lands into a massive PvP zone event, which is already supported by the towers situated across the zone, it would make a lot of sense to have more than just Naxxramas for the entirety of Phase 8, and the size of Stratholme already correlates to being a miniature raid anyways. Even if they only include a fraction of what...
If Strat was the raid, I mean, that would be really cool. I would like that a lot. Where's the assumption for more quests and things being added to existing raids coming from? Well, Blizzard...
I really hope they don't turn more dungeons into raids. I know they're going to do it with SM, with Nomer, with Karazhan Crypts. I know they're going to do that. Give us new environments. We want new environments, okay? Please.
Clearly implied it. Like, I mean, they very, very heavily implied it. They're literally showing footage in their own trailer of things that were never released in Classic WoW. There is 100% a chance they're going to do this. It's not even a question.
I've spoken of, and even if they go absolutely a completely different path, the amount of content that Blizzard seems to be planning to add to Classic Plus Season of Discovery is staggering. And whilst all of this might not be in Season of Discovery, it will definitely be in Classic Plus. So whether Season of Discovery is...
You know what? I know I said the whole new environment thing. If they're going to reuse any currently existing environment or zone and turn it into a raid, you know what they should do? Put an instance portal right at the entrance to Jadenar. Turn Jadenar into a goddamn raid. And you're delving deeper into it, and you get to the bottom, and then there's the expansive cavern at the bottom with demons down there, and it's huge. That would be okay. That's fine. That one would be kind of cool, and it's already done. It's already waiting for you.
Is Classic Plus or leads into Classic Plus, expect an obscene amount of content just from the end game phases. Now, this last section is going to be the shortest, but allow me to show you my terrible but somewhat decent guess to the final stretch. Okay. Welcome to Season of Discovery, Classic Plus phases. This section right here isn't going to have me...
Phase 11? Oh, bro, like, this is just some fucking, bro, this is like some straight up, like copium...
Hopium
shit.
It's hopium.
Like Mount Hyjal, Oldham, Grim Batal, Gilneas. Yep. Like, yeah, bro. Like, this is, 100% this is going to happen.
This is hopium.
Yeah, tinfoil speculation. Yeah.
What any of this will look like. This is just my guess of the content that's...
Man, this would be so fucking cool, wouldn't it be? This would be amazing. Mount Hyjal raid. I don't know. I think that at Mount Hyjal, because wasn't Deathwing supposed to be in Mount Hyjal?
So Mount Hyjal is a zone that they could reuse also. It's there in the game. The problem is that we've already been to Mount Hyjal, what, 2 times? Like, because there's the TBC raid, and then it's a zone in Cataclysm. We've already explored Hyjal. Hyjal's boring. No one wants Hyjal. We've already been there. We've been there a ton. It's lame. Hyjal's lame. Oldham. If you had like some sort of Oldham Titan facility dungeon that was new, that would be cool. Grim Batal. I really don't care about Grim Batal. We've been there. We've already been to Grim Batal. We've seen Grim Batal. Or at least I feel satisfied already. Gilneas. We've already seen that. You know? I don't know, man.
Hyjal? Yeah, I don't know. They could do something with that.
Coming once they finish with existing content.
Yes, yeah.
No matter how reasonable a guess, everything is in the air based on player feedback and reactions through all the phases. If you want to see more from me, watch this video right here. And subscribe and like the video if you're depressed. If you're not depressed, like and subscribe anyways. Thank you, Ebonhard out.
Well, there it is.
Excellent.
And so, like, that's kind of the way that I see a lot of it, too, is that I think that they'll use Season of Discovery as a testing ground for what they're really going to implement in a longer-term Classic Plus server. I don't know if
I think that is copium. I think that's copium. This is a take that I've seen that, oh, well, Season of Discovery doesn't really matter a whole lot because they're only using it as a beta test to really figure out what they're going to really do for real Classic Plus. I don't really think that's the case. I don't think so. I don't think so. There's nothing that's indicating that. I think this is it. I think this is what they've got, and they're just going to roll with it for as long as people as long as people are interested. They're going to keep doing this. Does he have over 1,500 YouTube notifications? Yeah, he does.
Like, we're going to be using our Season of Discovery characters like 5 years from now, 3 years from now. I don't think that'll probably be the case, but I'm okay with that. Classic team is 10 people, by the way. Yeah, well, I mean, wasn't the PoE team 7 people? So I don't really think that means that they can't do anything. Like, I mean, what's that? Didn't one guy make what's this here, 8 people? Yeah, exactly. Valheim had 2. Yeah, like, I don't think that's really a big problem. Just make the game. It's going to split the community and dev work? Yeah, for sure it will. Grim Batal Ray to be sick, too. The current Classic team owns. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, guys. Like, I think everything that the Classic WoW team is doing is good. Straight up. Like, I'm happy with pretty much everything that they've done.
I think the Classic team has generally made good decisions. Yeah, I think so. I would speculate externally that the Classic team's biggest problem is lack of resources. That they are not given the resources, the time, the money, the team size to get the work done that maybe the community would want them to get done, or that maybe they would want to get done themselves. But I think when it comes to decision making, I think they've generally made good decisions with what they've been given, probably.
Now, obviously, like, I don't really care a lot about PvP, so the Ashen Veil thing isn't really that great for a lot of people. But overall, I think that they are making all of the right decisions. And I think that also, outside of the WoW token, which was a horrible fucking decision, I think that every decision they made for Wrath of the Lich King has been good too.
I'll say it again. Maybe I'm giving the Classic team too much benefit of the doubt here. I don't think the Classic team had a choice. I imagine some corporate stiff kicking in the Classic door, the door to the Classic office, saying, "Yo, what's up? You guys need to make us more money. We need you to add the WoW token. You've got 3 months to do it. We're making money here. This is a business. We're making money." And they said, okay, all right then. I would guess they probably didn't have a choice.
I think that they've actually, like, they kind of have an idea of what the fuck they're doing. Maybe they play the actual game. So we'll see. We have 4 versions of Classic, and that's insanely awesome. Yeah, exactly. Just need to update the antiquated server system. Exactly. Instead of a new raid, give us a dating simulator. WoW token ruined the game for me. Yeah, just stop playing. Right? And also, like, the WoW token, I can see that, but let's be real. People were buying gold even before then. What really ruins the game is that Blizzard not banning those people. That's the real problem. But yeah, I think that more and more Blizzard...
We need to get rid of GDKPs. We need... And they're not going to do it. They're never going to do it. GDKPs should have been gotten rid of 3 or 4 years ago. I'll say it before I'll say it again. The second Gressel sold for 197,000 gold in Naxxramas. Remember, it was the Salad Bakers GDKP where Laddie was leading that. Remember that one? And this made every headline. It was all over the news, all over the Classic WoW news. Every single person heard about this. The 197,000 gold Gressel in the Naxxramas GDKP 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. That was the writing on the wall. We got to shut this down. We need to shut it down.
I'm starting to realize that there's, like, in my opinion, I think there is way more potential in Classic WoW than there is in Retail WoW. Like, the ceiling for Classic WoW is way higher than Retail WoW. I probably think that now there are more people that are playing Retail, because Retail is like that's World of Warcraft, right? But bad token normalized it. Oh, I understand that. I'm just saying, like there's like the way you feel about something and then the way it is. I'm just saying the way it is was still the same. Blizzard can do what's this here? Blizzard can do what the free-to-play games Dragonair did. I don't know what that is.
To be fair, this is one of the biggest problems with Classic WoW historically over the last 4 or 5 years, is that nothing is new. You don't have that mysterious excitement. Dude, what's the new patch gonna be, bro? What class changes are they gonna make? Oh, dude, I'm sitting here daydreaming, fantasizing. What is the new raid, bro? What kind of raid is it? Dude. With Retail, you have that. You always have that with Retail, right? Where are they gonna take the story? With Classic WoW, you don't have that, and that's really fun. It's fun to kind of daydream about those things and speculate and theory craft and stuff like that. With Classic WoW, we don't have that. With SoD. We do. We can have that with SoD. With Classic Plus, we can do that.
See if they were WoW was following OSRS's footsteps, but here we are. Yeah, I think that Classic WoW just has like a much larger future than Retail WoW does. Retail WoW has like its audience of people, and it has like a very dedicated player base, and Blizzard should probably just keep making content for that player base. And then look at trying to make another big mainstream game like Classic WoW, make that for a wider audience. Is that even true? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would assume that more people play Retail WoW overall, but I think that if you were looking at like engagement, this is like my guess. Okay.
For a long time now, every time I've checked, I don't know today exactly, but every time I've checked over the last 3 years, there are always more characters showing up on Warcraft logs for Classic WoW than there are characters showing up on Warcraft logs for Retail WoW. Now, characters does not mean individual players, because you might be raid logging, you might be raiding on 3 or 4 characters. But every time I've looked over the last several years, there's more characters raiding in Classic than in Retail. Now, a counter argument is, okay, well, there's a lot of people that play Retail maybe that don't raid. Maybe they only do Mythic Plus, or maybe they only do PvP, or maybe they only farm achievements, and so they're not going to register on there. Yeah, true. Yeah, possibly. But also there's people that play Classic that don't raid, right? And so it's hard to say. But the point is, a lot of people play Classic. It's true. Classic is not some little micro game. It's not some little just side project. Well, I mean, maybe Blizzard treats it that way at least, but it shouldn't be. It's a lot of people. A lot of people play Classic.
Okay. I don't really know this. I'm just making it up. But this is based off of everything that I see and read and just like my general opinion on things. I think this is Retail WoW.
Okay. That's bad. That's going down.
And I think also this is Classic WoW.
Oh, the line is going up.
And eventually, Classic WoW will be more popular. Based on what? Based off of excitement and engagement and the amount of people that are consuming content for it. And also just like based off of my own opinion about the game. Like, I'm going to be real. I think a big problem with Retail WoW is the fact that you have 50,000 different FOMO mounts that nobody can get anymore.
True. I like kind of completionist collection gameplay, and the sheer thought of trying to complete or get caught up in Retail is just overwhelming. It's like I'm never going to be anywhere near these other people that have been playing every day for 20 years. What's the point? You know?
So many things in the game that it devalues everything in the game. It's over-designed. You need tons of add-ons in order to play the game. I think these are big, big problems. And like, again, this is my opinion, okay? Like, I don't have like data for this because Blizzard doesn't show data for it. But as somebody who's played the game for over 15 years, this is what I think about it, man.
That's true, Gummy.
I think it's massively fucking over-designed. I think that, like, there's no way that a new player can get into Retail WoW and really enjoy it. And sure, yeah, it happens sometimes, but the frequency of it happening, I bet, is way less than it used to be. And I think I hear a lot more people, like, actually, you know what? Let's do a poll. I want you guys to do a poll.
Okay.
And I really want you to answer honestly so I can understand, like, if I'm off base on this or not, okay?
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a straw poll here. We're going to create the poll. What game are you playing? Okay?
Ooh. Classic versus
actually,
Retail, yeah? You lied, don't lie.
If you started WoW in the last 3 years, which version did you start with? Okay. Classic.
Okay.
Era, SoD.
Wrath, whatever.
Wrath, TVC.
Yep.
Okay. Actually, let's do 4 years. We'll include the original Classic release too.
Okay.
And then Retail WoW.
Okay. So the question is, in essence, which version of the game has brought more new people into the game?
Anytime. So, and then we'll add another option. I've been playing WoW for longer, or I do not play WoW.
Or I don't play WoW because I have a life, and I'm not a fucking nerd.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So that way, add in neither option? Yeah. And so, which one did you start with? Which version did you start with? Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
All right, let's do the poll. Let's see what people say. Give me your honest votes. I want honest votes here. Honest votes.
Okay. Here we go. Okay, so it makes sense. Most people have been playing longer than 4 years in the Asmongold community. But of the people that have started in the last 4 years...
people have just been playing the game for a long time. Yeah,
more people have been brought to the WoW scene through
yeah,
Classic.
This is for new people.
Wow. That's wild.
Be honest. Yeah, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong.
Wait for it.
If I'm right, then I'm right. It looks like Classic is higher than Retail, but I also have cultivated an audience of people that play Classic a lot more because, you know,
Do you think that's true? Do you think Asmongold has cultivated a classic audience as opposed to a retail audience. At this point, like, it's kind of hard to believe. I don't know.
I've been streaming a lot of classic content, so like there's kind of a selection bias with this. So I'm not really sure. Like, I don't think that this data is enough for me to conclusively say that my opinion is right. Yeah, I don't know. It's not enough. Did you react to Miz killing Emmy? Yes, I did. I did see it. It's an indication. Yeah. And the chat is classic bias.
It's pretty astounding.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, like, okay. If, like, it was, like, for example, like 70-30, then I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm right. But no, this is too close for me to call. I don't think so. But anyway, the point is that I think Classic WoW will grow a lot. And I think that the growth that Classic WoW will have a lot more longevity than the growth that Retail WoW has. And here's the reason why. I think a big problem with gaming nowadays is that every single game that you play, you're only playing the season of the game. You're only playing like a period of time in the...
I think at this point, SoD, Season of Discovery, probably needs to not be a season. I think this needs to not be only 12 months or 2 years. I think this needs to be a never-ending server where they just keep adding new content. That's kind of what I think. I think they also at some point need to do a no changes fresh, classic era fresh. I think they need to do, but I think SoD has to just go on forever, and they just keep throwing new content into it. I think
the game, and if you stop playing and you come back, usually you're completely left behind, because Classic WoW is a game that builds on itself and doesn't add a lot of catch-up mechanics. And like besides like maybe ZG or something like that, but there aren't really a lot of catch-up mechanics.
Speaking of catch-up mechanics, in SoD, the Classic team said when the level cap is increased from 25 to 40, as an example, there will be an XP boost for 1 to 25. So when the level cap is 40, it'll be easy to get caught up and start at 25 pretty much. You'll have like a... what's it called? I don't know. I forget what they've called that in the past. But anyway, it'll be an XP boost to catch up.
And if you're level 60, you got
Joyous
60
Journeys.
at the
Joyous
end of
Journeys.
Phase 6 in Classic WoW, you will probably end up doing Molten Core or ZG. Like, you don't go directly into AQ40 or Nax.
Yep.
So if you build those steps, like basically Retail WoW, you go from step 1 to step 2, and then the patch comes out and you're back down at step 1 and you get back up to step 2 again. But in Classic WoW, you go from step 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. So like the process of time of like character gearing and character growth is way longer in Classic WoW. And that's what I like. For example, like if you're level 40 and you quit playing Classic WoW a year ago, you can come back right now and you're going to be right where you left off. There's still going to be people clearing Nax that are way ahead of you.
Very
and
based.
there's still going to be people that are lower level than you.
But gold will have inflated by 69 million %, because on Classic Era at least, the gold buying and the GDKP scene is insane.
But it lasts longer whenever you get gear. Yeah, exactly. So because it takes longer, it's better? Yes, but not because it's longer. If that makes sense. So the reason why it's better is because it provides a more robust progression system. And there's something that's actually tiered out, and it's not created through artificial means. So there's not like a battle pass that's driving it. It's basically like the progression loop in Classic WoW, in my opinion, is more fulfilling. Because, like in Retail WoW, I know that every single patch that I play, I'm building a castle on sand. I know that as soon as the new patch comes out, everything that I've worked for will be meaningless and it won't matter, and I'll replace all of it in no time. And
well, that's kind of, he just described SoD though. To be fair, SoD suffers from this very retail style phenomenon where the second the level cap is raised to 40, guess what? All of your level 25 gear is worthless. True.
And a person that just came into the game will be able to do the exact same thing that I'm doing with relatively no friction. But in Classic WoW, if I'm in BWL, I know that whenever I come back, I'll be ready for AQ40. So I have like a desire at that current time to gear my character out to look forward to the future of AQ40. And in AQ40, I look forward to the future of Nax. And here's what was so crazy about Vanilla WoW, is that in Vanilla WoW, you wanted to get Nax gear because you could clear Karazhan in Nax gear, and that's a level 70 raid. It was amazing. So, like, there's always a reason to progress, and there's never, that reason to just wait. That's it. A realm reborn in WoW would mean no token, and essentially modern classic WoW, yes. Like, I'm very passionate about this, but, like, can you guys see kind of where I'm coming from here? Really think someone doesn't know anything about WoW would prefer playing a 20-year-old game instead of a new game?
I do think Vanilla WoW is the only version of WoW where you are really comprehensively playing an entire expansion and not just playing a patch. TBC is kind of a middle ground. Wrath, you're definitely only playing a patch. TBC is a awkward middle ground, but Vanilla is the only version that really delivers on that entire comprehensive 2-year journey really well.
That's a really good question. I don't know because I don't talk to any new players. Yeah, I mean, like, yes and no, right? New players come into OSRS, but I think you bring up a very good point. You do. I really don't know.
OSRS is growing. People like OSRS a lot.
It definitely is. The gear treadmill will sooner or later happen in Classic, dude. Horizontal progression games always failed to get large player base. See Guild Wars 2. There's a reason why all popular games follow a seasonal mode. I think that, like, at a certain point, and this is an issue that Lost Ark has, at a certain point you do need a way for people to be, like, reset. Because you can't have progression from, like, you can't have, like, a 10-year progression path.
This is one of the problems with Vanilla, though, if we're talking about making new content, new raids, Classic Plus discussion. I really don't think you can introduce gear to the game that is better than Naxxramas 40 gear. Nax gear, I think, is already too overpowered. And so if you have a new raid that is harder than Nax, it's sort of like, progression-wise, it takes place after Naxxramas. You know, you need to incentivize people to complete that content in some way. How do you incentivize people to complete raid content? You give them gear to do so. Okay, well, that gear, once again, I don't think it can be more powerful than Nax gear. Nax gear, I think, is already too powerful. Maybe it can be horizontal upgrades, you know, kind of gap fillers that is kind of, you know, adjacent to Nax. But the player power gap between Molten Gore gear, a Molten Core player, and a Nax player is already, like, insane. Nax gear is insanely strong, and so if, like, the player power in Vanilla is not growing linearly up like this, it's exponential, and by the time you're in Nax, it's just like it's too much. It's too wild. If anything, unpopular take, I know that I'm not saying they should do this, but, like, low-key, Nax gear should, if I could go back in time, I would nerf Nax gear. I'm not saying they should do it now, but if I was a Classic WoW developer with the knowledge I have from 2023 and go back in time to 2006, we got to reel back in Nax gear. Nax gear is too strong. Tone it down.
I think, like, maybe
it's
like a 2 or a 3 year progression path that then gets reset, like an expansion, is probably a good idea. Like, that would be kind of where I would draw the line. Like, this is, again, it's kind of arbitrary, but that's where I would draw the line. Like, probably maybe 5 at the most. You should interview a new WoW fan. Yeah, it's just really hard to find somebody who's like that doesn't, you know, already kind of know what's going on. Lost Ark treadmill was crazy. Well, Lost Ark had the fundamentals to be an incredible game. Because, like, you remember how fun Lost Ark was the first month of the game. It's like you do all the fucking the quests and everything. You get to level 50. You fight the Guardians. You do your tower. You do the...
I tried to play Lost Ark for 3 hours, and I hated every second of it. It was a lot of running around, talking to anime characters, listening to them talk. Not a lot of... I felt like there was not a lot of action. It was a lot of anime dialogue. And I had enough. I had 3 hours of anime dialogue, and I said, okay, this is not going to work. I'm going back to Classic WoW.
First raid,
I'm gonna go kill wolves in Elwyn Forest rather than listen to anime dialogue.
You're out of the first raid. You finally get up to like 600 gear level. I think that's what it was. And then you can do tier 2. You do tier 2 raids. You finish your tier 2 raids. The final capstone raid is your first 8-man raid against Poseidon under the fucking water. This is like super badass. You finish that. You finally go into tier 3 after you max out all of your gear. And like then you fight Argos, which to be fair is a fucking garbage boss. But then you fight Vulcan, which is like an amazing boss. Then you do Vicus, you do Clown, you do fucking Belshazzar, and there's like so many other things that are like in between that. It was so fucking good.
Wait, he spent $30,000 on Lost Ark? Asmongold spent $30,000 on Lost Ark? Are you kidding? There's no way. There's no way. I do know other streamers. I don't know about Asmongold. It was kind of the Twitch meta for a month or two, especially when Diablo Immortal came out. It was like, hey guys, I'm going to spend $10,000 on Diablo Immortal, and we're going to see what happens. And it's kind of gross. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that one, streamers.
And they just killed the game with pay to win and time gaining, right? So like it's not really the game's fault. And also like having over punishing mechanics to make it to where people don't do carries. But the first month of Lost Ark was one of the greatest gaming experiences I've ever had. And am I the only person that felt that way? I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Like I had way more fun the first month of.
You know, probably maybe the single greatest gaming experience I've had was the first week of Elden Ring. You want to talk about making discoveries where there's no guides, there's no tutorials, there's nothing guiding your direction. Playing Elden Ring for the first time, when you weren't able to Google anything because no one knew, it was awesome. It was badass.
Lost Ark was better than New World. It's better than Tower of Fantasy. It was probably not better than Final Fantasy, but like that was like kind of I had played the game. Like, it's kind of a weird thing to say that. Like it was better than Dragonflight. It was better than Shadowlands. Ooh, maybe not. Shadowlands was pretty good on release, but I liked Lost Ark more, I think. Yeah, 100% better than Diablo 4. Classic? No, Classic was better. Classic's the greatest. Classic WoW is the best MMO that's ever been made.
True.
And in my opinion, I don't even think another game even comes close.
True.
I don't think it even comes close. Like it's just
so
the best
true.
By far. No,
True,
I'm not
my
a
brother.
RuneScape enjoyer. I don't really play it a
RuneScape
lot.
is good too.
It's not that I don't like it.
Dude, RuneScape 2013, it was January 2013. RuneScape Fresh 2013 January. Man, dude. That was 10 years ago. You had to be there. Man. You had to be there. That was good. That was good too.
Get either. But the combat's not really something I'm not interested in.
Had to be there.
So like if I don't see that or understand that, I can respect somebody that says that like, you're not really right about this. Like RuneScape kind of does this. But overall, I do think that I do think Classic WoW is the best game. Yeah, there's a video. Make sure to give it a like. Hopefully we get more of these.
There it is.
The Copium videos. Oh yeah, my waifu cup is finally coming out. It's been a while, but
Asmongold has a waifu cup. There you go.
it's finally happening tomorrow.
Okay, there's that. This is what could be next for Season of Discovery. This is Asmongold. This is me reacting to Asmongold, reacting to Ebonhardt, and this is the YouTube and Twitch meta. So if you don't like it, that's just too bad. I'm going to upvote. I'm subscribed. I'm going to link it. Thank you. And if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, drop a subscription and like it and comment. I appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. And as always, stay safe.